Hey, this is Jeremy with Avocatus, and I was working on this ALG trigger today, doing a little trigger job, and the AKT-EL trigger, my very favorite trigger for an AK. And, you know, I polished out this hammer, smoothed it all out and everything, because that is what is riding on, it rides on the bottom of our carrier as the carrier moves around. And so you can help smooth out that action. Well, in doing so, I figured, hey, let's make a video and discuss some tips and tricks with this kind of deal with our fire controlled group. So for our hammer, this is the hammer face. This is what smacks the firing pin. When the trigger's depressed and the hammer goes like so, that's what's smacking our firing pin. So how do we interface the hammer and the spring? Well, this runs in the back of my head every time I do this. We orient our hammer. It's going to go like so, and we think about how it's going to sit. And so with our spring, our pigtails here, the little hooks, they need to go at the back and they point down. So line them up like so with that's the orientation and the weapon. And so we marry the two up. Whoops. So then we got to coil the spring. Now, as you veterans well know, you don't want to get snake bit. So basically, we want the back of the spring to ride at the back of the hammer. And then these are going to coil. So the way I do this is I put the face of the hammer into my hand, into my palm, or I guess nest it in my finger. And then we can go ahead and hold this in place while we coil the spring. And we're going to put this, kind of hook it like so, in place, and pinch it. Get the other one, and pinch it. Now, as those of you that have done this a few times, you very well know when these slip off, they come back and snake bite you. They get you poked into your palm there, and that's no fun. So, handy dandy trick is to use our shotgun shell, slip it over the entire package. So now we got a little hammer package. Can't touch this. So now, in our receiver, we can take our hammer, just give it a little turn like so, slide it in, and then rotate. Then we can line it up with our axis pin. So this also gives us a way to, kind of leverage around in there to line it up. So we take our axis pin, poke it in place. Then when we turn it over, again, we can move it around to line up our pin while I'm pushing on it on the other side. And it pops into place. Easy day. Leave this here. Now we can put in the trigger. Drop the trigger in place. We take our axis pin and we'll go ahead and get it started. So we start the left-hand side, but we don't push it all the way through. We need to leave that center section open. Now we need to think the bottom of this spring needs to go into the well there. There's a spot for it. So we line that up and then push the whole thing down. Whoops. So the axis pin can go in. Now we can use the trigger as leverage while we push on the back side and pop that into place. Get yourself a axis pin retaining plate. I don't mess with the springs. Just grab one of these, super affordable. The way that works is this hooks onto the forward axis pin. It goes between the receiver and the spring. And so on the left-hand side here, so that hooks onto the forward axis pin for the hammer, and then when it goes down. Again, this is on the left-hand side. I'm just doing this for illustration's sake. So we hook this in, we push it down, and then that's going to line up with our safety hole on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. So that's hooked in on the forward pin. I'm going to push it down. That's going to trap the rear axis pin, and now it's lined up for our safety. So when we poke our safety in, it's going to go into that hole, and boom, easy day. Now we can remove our shotgun shell, and I cheat. I use a scribe to unhook all this. So hook that down and in place. Unhook the other pigtail spring, set it in place. Now we can set our hammer. Go ahead and reassemble. In the front notch, make sure that you're in that well there, keeping it pushed forward into that well because our recoil spring is trying to push it out. So we need to keep it pushed forward and then down. Oh, let's try it again. And if it doesn't work, just hit it with your purse. Okay, so now we want to do a functions check on our trigger. First things first, safety down. We're going to charge the action, and we depress the trigger, and it should go click. Okay, that is releasing our hammer. Hammer's down, that's good. So now I want to test the disconnector. I'm going to keep the hammer held back, and I'm going to charge the action while I do so. Now when I slowly release the hammer, slowly release the trigger, I should hear the disconnector switch over to the sear surface. Okay, there's my audible click. Go ahead and test our safety. So safety's on, no worky. It's physically blocked the trigger. That's good. Safety's off. It should work. We should hear a click. Good to go. And I also like to check the safety with the hammer down. So hammer down as well as hammer back, and make sure that your safety is working. So at this point, the hammer is down. We check the safety. It doesn't work. The hammer is down. We check the safety. It doesn't work. And that's it. Thanks for watching.